Hola, bienvenidos. I am Maestra Teacher. If you are an English speaker and you're trying to learn Spanish as a second language, or any person trying to learn Spanish as a second language, then this is a channel for you. In today's lesson, we will practice all the vocabulary related to measurements, or in Spanish, las medidas. When we measure, we're basically trying to find out the length, the size, the width of something. We measure every day in our lives for different things, from size that you wear to how much you weigh to if you want to build a house and so on. You need to know measurements. There are basically two types of measuring systems. The first one is known as the US American, based on the British imperial system. And there's also the metric system that they use in the rest of the world. So if you are going to travel into the United States, know again that we don't necessarily use the same metric system that you have over there. We have our own US system. And know that if you are from the United States and you're trying to travel to another Hispanic countries, most of the Hispanic countries, of course, use the metric system. So keep that in mind. I will remind you now that in my class, it's very important that you actively participate. You will see a picture, you will read the word and listen to the pronunciation, and of course, you will repeat. Look, listen, and repeat. The more you practice, the better you'll become at speaking that Spanish, and you'll soon be that bilingual person that you're dreaming of. The first word related to the metric system is how to say metric system in Spanish. Metric system is el sistema métrico. Say it. El sistema métrico. The imperial system in Spanish is known as el sistema imperial. Okay, so we're first going to start with a category related to distance. Distance in Spanish, distancia. Distancia. Okay. For the American one, we have mile. In Spanish, you say millas. Milla, if it's just 1 mile. Millas, if it's more than one. Millas. Yard, in Spanish, yarda. If it's more than one, yardas. A foot, in Spanish, pie. Not pie, pie. And if it's more than one, it's pies. Okay, and then inches in Spanish, if it's 1 pulgada, and if it's more than one, pulgadas. Remember, in Spanish, for plural, just add the S. Pulgada, pulgadas. Okay, in the metric one, a metric system, if you talk about kilometers in Spanish, kilómetros. Kilómetros. A meter in Spanish, el metro. El metro. Centimeter in Spanish, centímetro. Centímetro. Say it. And then millimeter in Spanish, milímetro. Milímetro. Good job. Now let's talk about weight and volume. Weight in Spanish, el peso. El peso. And volume in Spanish, el volumen. El volumen. Now, in the American system, an ounce in Spanish, onza. Onza. Pound, libra. Libra. Remember to add the S if you talk about many pounds. Libras. Libra, libras. Okay? A ton in Spanish, tonelada. Tonelada. And a cup in Spanish, taza. Taza. For the metric system, a liter in Spanish, litro. Litro. Say it. A kilogram, kilogramo. Kilogram in Spanish, kilogramo. Miligramo. Miligramo. And a gram in Spanish, gramo. Gramo. We also have a gallon in Spanish, galón. Un galón. A quart in Spanish, una pinta. Pint, pinta. Let's discuss now the vocabulary related to length, width, and height. Length in Spanish, you will say largo. Say it, largo. Some people also say longitud. For width, you will say ancho. Ancho. People also say anchura. Ancho, anchura. And for height, you will say altura. Altura. But if you're talking about the height of a person, then that one is known as estatura. Altura, when you talk about the height of a building or something, but when you talk about the height of a person, that's known as estatura. Area in Spanish, área. The same, but you just put an accent, área. Área. And perimeter in Spanish, perímetro. Perímetro. Circumference in Spanish, circunferencia. Circunferencia. Say it, circunferencia. Volume in Spanish, línea. Línea. Angle in Spanish, ángulo, with accent in A. Ángulo. Say it. A ruler in Spanish, ruler, regla. La regla. Say it. La regla. And a measuring tape in Spanish, la cinta métrica. La cinta métrica. Mass in Spanish is known as masa or materia. Masa or materia. Mass in Spanish, masa or materia. And also for size, size in Spanish, tamaño. Tamaño. And it's also, if you're referring to the size of clothing, that's known as talla. Talla. Tamaño, size, talla. It means like a size of clothing, okay? When something is big in Spanish, grande. Big, grande. Medium, mediano. Mediano. Small, pequeño. Pequeño. The last measurements that we are going to discuss today are related to temperature. Temperature in Spanish, la temperatura. Say it. La temperatura. The object that we use to measure it, el termómetro. Thermometer in Spanish, el termómetro. Say it. Termómetro. Okay. And of course, there's several ways to measure this. We can measure them like here in the United States, we use Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is the last name of Daniel Fahrenheit, the physicist, the German physicist who created this measurement scale. Is represented with an F, capital letter F. And of course, we don't change Fahrenheit. We just say it the same way, Fahrenheit. If it's Celsius, Celsius is based on that Swedish scientist who created the Celsius scale under Celsius, and that's represented with a capital C, and is the measurement used in other parts of the world for temperature. Both of them are expressed with degrees. Degree in Spanish, we say grado. Grado. Say it, grado. So if you want to say that a boiling point, or in Spanish, punto de ebullición. Punto de ebullición is your boiling point. 100 degrees Celsius, you would say 100 grados Celsius or centígrados. And if you want to say 212 Fahrenheit, you will say 212 grados Fahrenheit. And the opposite, if you want to say the freezing point, el punto de congelación, then you will say 0 degrees Celsius in Spanish, 0 grados centígrados, or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 grados Fahrenheit. Their unit of measurement for temperature is called the Kelvin and expressed with a K. It does not use degrees, but that one is mostly used for physicists and scientists. So we're not really going to discuss it here. Let's practice now some phrases or sentences that you can use to impress anybody near you when you're putting together that IKEA dresser or when you want to express that you lost pounds. If you want to express what is your height and weight, your height, you would say, yo mido 5 pies y 2 pulgadas. Yo mido, it means my height. Yo mido, and then you would put whatever is your height. The same with your weight. Yo peso, what amount of pounds? Pounds in Spanish, libras. Yo peso 120 libras. Yay, I wish. Yo peso 100 libras, or yo peso 300 libras. Libras is the expression for pounds in the US, and that's what we use. Okay? If you want to express how far you live from work in miles, you will say, yo vivo a 20 millas de mi trabajo. Miles is what we use from here distance, millas. Yeah. If you want to express that you lost pounds, you will say, yo perdí 10 libras el mes pasado. Like you lost 10 pounds last month. Yo perdí 10 libras. If you want to express that you want coffee, you will say, quiero una taza de café. Taza is cup. Quiero una taza de café. And one more, if you want to express that a whale is heavy in tons, you will say, la ballena pesa 150 toneladas. The whale weighs 150 tons. La ballena pesa 150 toneladas. Good. Thank you so much for practicing with me today's lesson on measurements. I hope you learned something and I hope you use it in your daily life. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you want to, and I'll see you in my next lesson. Hasta luego!